We are live. It has
All
been a
right.
minute yet again.
It
Holy
has
moly.
been.
Sorry. Some of this
Oh,
is me, some of this is holidays, but yes. We're also on a
holidays.
different
Yeah.
day. Yes. Due to miscommunication.
Yeah. You asked me on Monday, hey, are we doing this thing on Tuesday? And I don't know. I wasn't even looking. And then I saw it on Tuesday. I thought, oh yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, you're gone. Okay.
Yeah, of
Um,
course I was away from those. Yeah. What are you gonna do? How was your
um,
vacation? Did you take some time off, I hope?
yeah, sort of. I mean, we were officially off,
Mhm.
but um I mean, I still did kind of some fun projects that I was
Right.
playing with, an idea I had, and I finally had a chance to really get into it. Um, so I did that, and then just up until 3 minutes ago, I was spending money.
Okay.
So I got a new toy that I'll have tomorrow,
Right on. Look at that.
and I'm excited about that.
That's very, very cool to
So
hear. Don't tell us what it is. We need
yeah,
something to talk about next week.
or 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 I mean, I'm okay with sharing what it is.
What'd you grab?
I got a Panasonic S5 2X
Oh, okay. So that I've got a lot.
and
Having just had this conversation yesterday, I have a lot of things to ask about this. But yeah, go
and
go
the
ahead.
24 millimeter 1.8.
Oh, nice L mount glass, right? It's full
Yep.
full sensor, full size
Yeah.
sensor. Yeah,
Full frame.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
will take Leica lenses as well, right? The L mount
Yeah.
Leica
Yeah.
lenses,
The L mount is the what is on the
Sigma, Panasonic, and uh, the other people, Leica.
Sigma, Leica. So the Sigma FP, I think that's an L mount.
Yeah, FP1 is it L mount?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's not.
Um, Black Magic, the a newer Black Magic is using the SL mount, I think.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that
Um,
actually.
and there's a couple others, I think.
Now listen, Leica's awesome, Panasonic's awesome, but those Sigma lenses are really nice because I use them on Sony, and they're
Mm,
phenomenal. Those the DGDN, I think the DN is the key part.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, those new Sigma lenses. I'm not gonna say they're
I
Leica
got the
quality, like
the
that's a whole other thing.
Panasonic. I got the
Yeah,
Panasonic Lumix 85 or no
I hear
24.
I hear it's amazing.
Um, yeah. So that's $3,400.
Wow.
I just pressed the button just now.
Now,
Um,
I'm no expert, but my understanding, having watched a few Tyler Stallman videos, is that the open gate part of this camera is the good side. And specifically, if you want to shoot vertical video as well as horizontal, or like some
right,
weird aspect ratios or something, I guess this is the
right,
camera. Like this is one of those features that only this camera has. Is
right.
is the open gate? Yeah, looks really really
Yeah.
cool. Or if you want to do what are those? Because you can de-squeeze in camera. I'm trying to think of
The
the type of
anamorphic.
lens. Anamorphic. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
even this the GH5 does that too.
It's like Sony doesn't
GH5,
have any of this stuff,
GH6.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think you can also do double exposures in Panasonic, which you haven't been able to do in Sony for years.
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah.
So annoying. And I
Um,
realize this is like a niche feature, but it is fun to use sometimes.
yeah. And I mean, I don't um I know there's enough people out there that will say that the colors generally are better on the Panasonic than they are on the Sonys.
Interesting.
I think you'll be able to fix that in post anyway, so that I don't think that as a great
Yeah.
um reason to choose one versus the other. But since the autofocus has always been like the thing that people don't like. I think the autofocus on the GH5 is pretty amazing, and I've that's all I've used for everything. I've pretty much everything I've done since I got the GH5, which was
Right.
6 years ago.
Wow. That's pretty big.
And it's fantastic. And apparently the S5 2 and 2X are far better
They blow it out of the water.
autofocus.
I'm trying not
Yeah,
to like poo-poo
and
your GH. I realize it's a nice camera, but yeah. Once
yeah,
you've tried it's like PDAF plus a little bit of it's probably
yeah,
OpenCV, but like the eye detection as opposed to
yeah,
face detection is actually it's a pretty big
yeah,
deal.
yeah.
It's really nice.
But that said, if the GH5 has been good enough, maybe that's not the
Right.
feature I really need.
Fair enough. Fair
It's
enough.
really the full frame. So
Right.
getting this background a little bit more. out
Yeah.
of focus is a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I think mine's even in more focus than yours, and I'm at probably a 4 on full frame.
Yeah. This is on the Micro Four Thirds. This is a 20mm 1.4.
Right, but Micro Four Thirds is it's almost twice,
Like
right?
right.
Yeah.
So 2.8 ish.
Yeah, the
And so
equivalent.
this would be
Yeah.
a lot better.
Right.
Um,
Hey, as long as
and
your nose isn't out of focus and your ears aren't out of focus, right? Like
that's
that.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you're gonna have gotten a little bit too far. That's really cool. And so
And
you got one lens already, or
one
they're
lens
not
is coming. Yeah.
okay, and they are
And so they're
compatible, right?
both.
Like L,
Yeah.
yeah.
So so that's the lens. I mean, I ordered
Yeah.
B&H. I got the two together, and so they'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, nice little combo deal.
Well, actually, no, they're combos. You know, I was thinking at
Okay.
first, combo deal. Okay,
Yeah.
that. I wonder if there's a difference, and so I just added up the numbers. It's the exact same price. They've got these combos, but they're if you buy the two things separate, it's like there's no benefit other than just pressing add to cart one time versus two times.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, that's also interesting though, because I wonder if they don't have like a kit lens kind of thing. It's like a
There is a
0.5
kit
to
lens that you
0.9,
can get with it, but like most kit lenses, I haven't heard great things about it.
Yeah.
And you know, I have on the Micro Four Thirds. I mean, I have. What do I have? I have the. I mean, the lens I use most of the time is the 20, which is what is in here right now.
Yep.
I have this. What is this? 45mm lens right here, which is tiny.
Portrait, right? Could it be 90-ish?
Yeah. And this is one from Olympus, so that's why it has a silver.
And for the viewers at home, all I'm doing is converting these numbers into 35mm equivalents.
Times 2. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know Micro Four Thirds.
And then I have a 100-300 zoom, which I never use. I don't know why.
That's like a birding lens. Yeah, it's time to.
Yeah, that's 200 to 600. Yeah,
it's time to become a fan of birds.
It's great, and you know, with the IBIS stabilization on the GH5, and I think there's stabilization on that lens too.
Yeah, I thought
so. It's like
nice.
it's very, very stable, and again, the S5 is even more so.
Now, what do you think of that screen on that? Because it's got like a. Is it e-ink or something? That the top screen's a little bit different, right, on the S5?
I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
I watched enough of the videos. I watched enough of the reviews like a few months ago, and then I was like, okay, that's what I'm getting. Period.
Oh no, sorry. I was thinking of the Fuji. My apologies.
Yeah. Okay.
That new Fuji has like that e-ink display on, and when I saw it in person, I actually thought it was a little bit weird. You know how like traditionally cameras have had like that little LCD on the right-hand side?
Right.
They've been making those into e-ink displays. I find them hard to read. That the contrast isn't high enough.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the implementation. Like the one I was pretty impressed with the actually no, I so the contrast on Kindles is pretty good.
I've heard it is, yeah.
And that's the I know on the Amazon snowballs, you know, the big box, the luggage that they send to you with like a bazillion discs inside to offload all your data onto that and then ship it to Amazon.
This looks like
the shipping label. The shipping label is a Kindle.
I was just looking at it, so it's just enclosed in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's or at least it was. I don't know if it still is. I mean, last reInvent that I saw it, which was 4 years ago, it was a Kindle.
Wow, it's just a paperweight wedged in there.
Yeah, and it might be turned on all the time so that it's always lit, because it only has to last for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, really 2 days to get it to you, and then it's probably powered from inside.
Yeah, my understanding with the e-ink is like you once you power the crystals, they can stay that way, not forever, but like forever.
Right, essentially forever. But the backlight on the Paperwhite Kindles, that takes up power.
Gotcha. Yeah, that totally makes sense. That is
I mean, that was the amazing thing with the with the e-ink displays. That I mean, with the before the Kindle came out, I had the e-reader from Sony,
Right.
and I had the Sony e-reader that was like a full 8.5 by 11 size base piece of paper, just like I
Mhm.
have the Kindle version of that. I
Mhm.
have the original 8 by 11 or so Kindle, which
Mhm.
I think was Kindle DX
Gotcha.
long ago. But that Sony e-reader, the battery on that would last 6, 7, like 6 months.
Yeah, I was gonna say weeks,
Yeah,
months, years.
no,
Yeah, the e-ink
I mean the
displays there
Kindles last for a few weeks.
yeah, listen, I don't know if my mother's watching this episode, but she would tell you that she's in love with her Kindle, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
what she likes about it, is that it's not one
yeah,
of those devices that you
yeah.
need to charge, like, every day.
Right,
She just wants to
right,
sit down and read a frickin' book, not, like,
right.
worry
Yeah.
about all this power and stuff like that, so for her, it's
Was
perfect.
Yeah. Wasn't the Pebble also an e-ink display?
It was, but
Pebble
the
watch?
Pebble yeah, I think the Pebble to me is very similar to what I saw on the Fuji, is that, like, the contrast isn't there, it like,
Mm,
in certain angles, look bad. So for me, when I'm
yeah,
using a camera, I don't freaking see these dials, right? So, like,
yeah,
if I can't see it
yeah,
at an angle like that, that's sort of useless to me.
yeah.
The Pebble, honestly, I think there were 2 generations or maybe 3, but the first
Mm,
generation, I actually did not like that, is that, like, if you were looking at your watch from an angle, you couldn't tell the
yeah,
time, which seems to
yeah,
be the point. But the
yeah,
second and third versions, if I understand it correctly, used a different display, which is, I mean, I'm sure e-ink has come a long way since then, but
right,
even
yeah,
that second edition was much better. I just don't understand. Maybe I do understand. I don't think there's a need for displays when manual knobs would be better. But then again, I understand that we're going
yeah,
knobless
yeah,
because there are more things that break. But to go back to the point, the S5 2X does in fact have physical knobs, and it's got
yeah,
them on both sides, which is what I really enjoy because the Sonys
yeah,
often do not have them on the top left. And as
right,
someone who's more like, when I'm shooting, I'm in the moment, right? I want to be able to turn these things, not hop into menus and
yeah.
get 3 leaf in
And
order to do stuff.
and generally with all the Panasonics, they have, um, there's a lot of buttons, and
Right.
you can take over the control of a lot of
Yeah.
many of those buttons are not really labeled, and you can have it do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
so, if you want to have one button switching from between LUTs, that's fine, or switching between different, all sorts of things. And so often, if I'm in, um, uh, taking photos,
Mhm.
then one of them is for aperture and the other one's for
Right.
shutter speed. But if I'm in video, then it's obviously not going to be aperture. It's going to be, or shutter speed is going to be shutter angle.
Right.
Um, and or actually, it might be plus and minus the correction. Um, and Yeah, so there's a lot of control, and then there's all sorts of buttons on the back and dials on the back, and I mean, it can be overwhelming for some people, but
Yeah,
it's still
I'm
pretty
looking
cool.
at this and like so you mentioned shutter angle there, which I think a lot of
Yeah.
people may think they know, but like in general, it's like double your speed, I think. So if it's like 1/60, you would have like 1/125, I think is what you'd be looking for 180-degree
So,
shutter angle. Is that right?
yeah, 180
Oh,
degrees shutter angle is, like I think it's 1/24th of a second if you're doing 24 frames per second, or 24.
it should be 50,
Wait,
right? I think it's double. 1/50? We both lost us. But my
I used to
understanding
know.
is
I
you
used
wanna
to know
go
what that
faster
was.
than if it's
Yes.
24 frames per second, you wanna go faster than that.
Yeah.
Regardless, at least that speed, if not faster, or you're dragging basically. And
Right.
the shutter angle, though, the reason this is important is because generally what you do is you set it by degrees as opposed to by the number. And for people who are used to cinematography, that's what they want to see basically in the menus, not the shutter speed that we're used to. So
Hmm.
I think in the S5 II, you can set it to shutter angle as well, which is a big deal
Right.
for
Because
cinematography.
you can do that on the GH5.
Yeah, yeah, which is pretty cool, actually. Like
Yeah.
if you're used to that type of system, basically of those
And
missions.
that's where I've set it and I left it and I haven't
Yeah.
touched it since.
The other one is T-stops. Do the lenses measure in T-stops or f-stops?
They're not cinema lenses, they
Okay.
are photo lenses, so they are just
Oh, right, the
f
Panasonic ones,
stops.
I forgot. Those are amazing lenses. They're like
Yeah, so
encased in boxes. Yeah, yeah, they're
all
really
the
cool.
same size, the same weight,
Yeah,
except
yeah.
for the 135, I think, is
Okay.
heavier. but generally they are all the same.
Yeah, I forgot
And
they sell like you go on B&H looking on Panasonic lenses and you end up with these like massive box looking ones that are
yeah,
$20,000. Yeah. It's crazy.
yeah. There's a few of the cinema ones that are a lot more affordable, like 1,000 a lens.
Okay, that's not bad.
And they seem to get really good reviews. I'm not there yet.
That's like 1% of the cost of like a normal cinema
Yeah,
lens, as far
yeah.
as I can tell. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not there yet either. But I do wonder though, when you're so T-stop, my understanding is it's a measurement of the brightness as opposed to a measurement of the aperture.
Right.
Is that about right? Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, those two things mess me over when I'm doing video. A lot of times I'm just
Yeah.
in manual mode anyway. But I did
Right.
notice on the layout, just as an example of this camera compared to the GH5, like there's a big red record button, and the
Mhm.
on-off button is more reminiscent to a video camera, where it's like a
Right.
switch. It's not one of
Right.
those little rockers or anything.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely designed to be a cinema first camera, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, we'll see what that's like. And I thought about doing it from Amazon, but it's like $300 more on Amazon.
Really? Did you go like B&H?
And so I went B&H.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I have to return it, there's potentially a 15% restocking fee, which is about where
Right.
I mean, they'd say we reserve the right to add it, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. And if you're in person, they probably won't. But if you're on mail order, who knows?
Yeah. They've got that card though, right? The Payboo or something that does some
there's
weird
Payboo
things
card.
about taxes
Yeah.
and like allows you to return for free.
And so basically they will give you the amount in taxes. I'll give that back to you.
Right.
But then there's this other credit card you got to manage. And you can cancel it right away.
Mhm.
But and if you don't, for some reason you miss the bill and you don't pay it, it's 30%. So you got to pay a lot. I mean, it's a massive. I mean,
I've never used one of those store brand credit cards, but I guess that's probably common, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it right, it can save you. In this case, it was $300, 288 tax.
Nice.
I started going through the process, and it's like I kept going form after. It's like screw this, I'll just pay the tax. I mean, it's paying it's trying to get out of. I mean, I guess you're still paying the tax. I mean, because the tax still goes to the government.
That's right.
But
whether or not you get the points later is
yeah. I mean, I guess it would have been smarter for me to go ahead through all the Payboo stuff, but I didn't.
Yeah, if you're going to be buying more stuff, I know you like to purchase things, Matt. I've noticed this about you, but I think camera gear you generally slowed down quite a bit, right?
No, I mean the last
it's worse.
The last camera. I mean, I've had this GH5 for 5-6 years,
which is awesome, honestly. I'm
yeah.
terrible. Like every 2-3 years, it feels like I'm itching for a new camera.
Yeah. I mean that said, I've had a few cameras since then. Actually, no, I got this GH5. I think I got it. In fact, I had it delivered to.
It's Boston.
I had it delivered to the hotel in Las Vegas.
Oh, Vegas
for reInvent.
Gotcha.
And I did it. I had it for the first reInvent I went to when I started Datadog. So that's more like 10 years ago.
Wait, is that how you get that photo of you behind you? Is that
of me with the entire company?
Worth the purchase.
All 30 people. Yeah.
No, I meant the one of you in front of the audience where all the people.
That was the second year or second or third year I was there, and that was taken by Hyun in the design. Although he's not. Well,
might not be with us. Yeah.
But GH5, when did that come out?
It's pretty old, actually. A lot of people are still using it now, which is funny to me. Like as a smaller sensor cinema camera, I didn't think it'd be that popular, but it's been, even the GH4 is still being used, and I think that might be 10 years old now.
So GH5 came out in 2017.
Yeah, and GH4 was 2014. So every 3 years.
Okay, so GH4 I got delivered to the hotel in Vegas, and that's what I took the photo of the early Datadog. When it was when the entire company was 35 people, and we all fit in around one table, basically.
That's right.
And the GH5 I bought probably 2 years after that in 2017 or so. And so that's 6 years.
I think there was a big difference between the GH5 and 4, though, if I understand things correctly, in terms of the
Yeah.
autofocus at that time. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't that great in the 4. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of
But
people
I still
still
ha
use the GH5. It's
Yeah.
like it's their webcam, it's their content creation
Yeah.
machine. They just use it
I
for
still have my GH4 and my
nice.
GH2 and my GH1.
There you go.
That's
That's saying
The
a lot.
GH1 I haven't powered on in a long time. I have a GX6, I think, as well, but I can't find a battery for it. It was there. That was probably the first of the Lumix cameras I got. There was this really great review
Oh, I've seen these. Yeah.
that by a guy that carried around that camera with a 20mm lens, and that's all he carried on this long trekking vacation. And because of that, I bought the camera and the lens, and then bought the GH1 and then the GH2 and all these other cameras, and it kind of pulled me in.
that one reviewer. So I think, Matt, what you're trying to say is that sometimes influencers do actually make a difference.
Yes. Yes.
Just pat yourself on back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is when I see people like taking photos that I like or content that I like with a certain type of camera, it makes me, think. I mean, look, let's take the tech out of the equation. At least not like, hey, I'll buy this and it'll make me better. But if you can take it out of the equation and then think about the content, I feel like you're getting better content there automatically, just because you're not thinking about the tech stuff. I do wonder, have you seen The Creator yet? I think I might have brought that up once before.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah.
It's spectacular.
Yeah, all shot on FX3, which tells me like, go out, buy an FX3. I can make this movie as well.
Right.
Yeah. And a Kowa anamorphic, I'm good to go.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
They said a $5 LUT is what they grabbed from like Envato Elements or something like that. Yeah, and then like reverse engineered it to make their own. But that's it. I mean, that and maybe multi-millions of dollars of ILM special effects. But
that
and
was
lighting ring, like airy sky panels, just the biggest lights you could possibly buy. Let's get 2 of them. That's it.
That was a spectacular movie.
It was, and I didn't expect to have that emotional response to something that, for all intents and purposes, is a robot movie. Like, I actually have like an emotional response to something like that. I thought was awesome, and really, like, do you think the Sony FX3 mattered in that movie? Probably not. They could have shot it with anything, right? They just want something small.
Yeah.
And
iPhone.
Right, and I think some of the shots that they took when they were originally doing their scouting, basically, was like iPhone and FX30. Is what they're doing. I think it was the FX30. And then they just went for the FX3 instead when they made the production. But they bought, I think they bought 2, one in a backup, and then they bought a third just in case kind of thing. But they only ever really used one camera, which is amazing to me.
And I seem to remember them saying that they considered using more special effects, but it was cheaper just to get on a plane and go to the location because there were so few people, and so the crew was so small.
And it was during COVID.
They could just fly there.
Yeah. Some of the behind the scenes stuff show a crew of like 15 people.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a lot, but like honestly, for one of these, at least like when I'm walking around downtown looking at sets, like there's 30, 40 people there.
There's 15 people just for security, keeping people from coming into your shot. I mean,
craft services serving muffins.
Yeah.
There's 15 people.
So
it's amazing. So I mean, they flew around Southeast Asia, obviously, and took some shots and stuff like that. But it's phenomenal. I will say, without a spoiler, towards the end where they go to a different location, I found that it kind of fell apart a little bit, but otherwise the rest of the movie was amazing. It's just because all of the budget seemed to be at the end for like all the special effects and stuff like that. And I felt like those poignant moments early on were just like almost nothing. Just like a nothing location, and some light coming through.
Yeah, it was.
The emotion was awesome.
It was definitely a movie I didn't, but I wanted to see again.
Right.
And I will definitely be watching it a few times on my TV.
Yeah, same here. I want to see it on something like quality.
Yeah.
I think I watched on my phone on the plane kind of thing. It's just like it doesn't do it justice at all.
It's like I remember going to. I mean, I haven't seen many movies a second time at the theater, but the first of the second trilogy of Star Wars movies, I remember seeing that a couple of times. because when it was just like the effects were mind blowing at the time,
That's
and it
true.
was
Yep.
the detail, and that was where what's her name as Queen Amidala or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, seeing them fly over what Coruscant, I think was that scene and you see like the birds flying in the distance, and it's like
Yeah.
I got to see that again.
Just that one scene. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
I think one of the few movies that I've seen twice in the theater is also Star Wars reboot, but I think it's the
Mm,
first or the sec. Wait, maybe we're talking about the same thing. So not the first trilogy, but the second trilogy,
yeah,
like the 1, 2, and 3. I think Attack of the Clones is the one that everyone hates with Jar Jar
yeah.
Binks. I've seen
Oh yeah, I
twice.
mean, there's always going to be something that somebody hates about any of the movies, but
I like to think of
I
Jar Jar as like a dark Sith Lord, like
yeah,
nobody knows, but he's just in there messing stuff up.
yeah. I mean, it
I watched
wasn't
it
that
again
bad.
recently, and I still find it funny. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not as bad as everybody likes it.
yeah,
Everybody says it is. I think the fact that they like it so much is why they don't
yeah.
think the ones that aren't good are great. There's like those
Right.
Ahsoka and Andor series as well, which I know
Yeah,
some people are down on. I
yeah, and
just
I love them.
okay, yeah, I'm just started watching or about to start watching the end.
Andor.
Yeah.
I thought Andor was the best of Star Wars.
Okay. Wow, the best of
The
Star Wars.
absolute best of Star Wars.
For me right now, I think it's Rogue One. Does it measure up to Rogue One? Again,
Um,
I don't think this is a hot take. I think other people do agree with me.
hold on, I have to look at the picture for Rogue One. One of them I hated.
This could be it because some people definitely didn't like it. Rogue One was the one that starred Felicity Jones, which is why I think I liked
Yeah,
it, but I'm not sure everybody likes Felicity
I
Jones.
I think that's the one that I hated.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. It's very
Yeah,
divisive.
but all the other ones like what was it? There was one Solo, which I
I like
thought was
Solo.
fantastic,
Yeah, I
and
like Solo.
I mean I liked all of the and when I say I didn't like it, I mean I've watched it a few times on streaming because I got Disney Plus,
Disney
and
Plus,
so
yeah.
I've watched it a bunch of times, and so dang, I mean it's not like I don't like it. It's like I never want to see that movie again. No, I'm going to see it again. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to think who
yeah.
else was in here. Yeah, there was like Diego Luna was also really good in this. Anyway, I thought it
Mm.
was pretty good. But yeah, these Star Wars movies, like there's a lot of them. Have you seen the most recent Mandalorian season,
Oh
for
yeah,
example? I have
yeah.
not, and I want to. Okay.
So how many seasons are there? There's like 2 seasons of Mandalorian, right? Or are there 3?
I thought there were 3, and I think it's the
Okay,
third
so
one I haven't seen.
then it's the third one that's like,
Yeah.
the
Third
first
season I haven't
the
seen.
first
Okay.
one was amazing.
Yeah, it
Second
was.
one was almost as good.
Yeah.
Third one,
That's too bad. That's too bad.
yeah.
But I guess to get back to the point, I guess what I'm saying is I don't feel like you needed to buy a new camera to make good content.
No,
But
no, no.
Matt,
No.
what kind of content are you going to be making on this camera?
No, I mean I have no justification to buy another camera.
Well,
The
there you go.
GH5,
Okay.
the GH5 is plenty good enough still,
Okay. Fair enough.
but it's fun.
It's fun. Are you going to go
And-
anamorphic
and
or try
because-
anamorphic?
I haven't. I actually got it pretty recently. I got one of the Moment anamorphics for the iPhone.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I wanted to play around with that.
One of my former colleagues, Eric Allen, who I think you know, who is also now in the AI space, is a big fan of Moment and loves those filters.
Okay, yeah.
And his shots are incredible. You could never tell if they're taken with iPhone. He does a lot of travel photography, and it's
Wow.
top notch. Yeah, it's pretty impressive actually.
Yeah. 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 So I think I could have gone without getting this S5.
Right?
It was only when, when our renovation for the above the garage, when we said no to that because it was crazy cost.
Mhm.
And I was saying no to all these other things because we were going to do this renovation. And then all of a sudden, like, well, not only are we not going to spend the crazy number, but we're not even going to spend the kind of crazy number.
Oh.
So all of a sudden, it's like, well, that little camera that I've kind of wanted, but I didn't really need. Let's just go get it.
Now, if you were me, you don't need to do this, but we just got a puppy. So, for example, I may
Yes.
justify my purchase by saying I will take more puppy photos. For you, it may be
Yes.
child photos. It was that part
Yes.
of the equation at least. Okay.
Yeah, I think, I mean, one thing I definitely need to do is right now my GH5 is kind of in this jail
Right. I hate that.
because
Yeah.
it's right there. I can't touch it.
Right.
And that's mostly because I've got this I've actually got a teleprompter right here and I'm
Yep.
looking at the screen. And so when I'm looking at it, it's like I'm looking right at you because I'm looking at the screen. I'm
Right.
looking at you, and to you it looks like I'm looking at you. But then I tend to look at this screen because it's bigger
Right.
and it's just easier to look at. And yet I still have this behind a teleprompter because any video that I actually record that I put up on YouTube, I'm reading the script from the teleprompter.
Right.
And so there's a few problems here. There's this, first off, there's a teleprompter. And so there's this big thing that blocks me from accessing my camera. So I can't just easily take it off,
Right.
even though it's on a great quick release system. So I could, once I get back there, I could get to it. And then it's stuck behind this teleprompter, and it's not even a great teleprompter. I mean, it's a teleprompter we've talked about it before. I've had it for 10 years. It's got a little Lilliputian monitor in front of it. I'm going to change that out to a different teleprompter very near term. And but it's a kind of a do-it-yourself one.
So not the Elgato.
Well, no, I bought the Elgato.
You returned it.
Yeah. And I returned it because it sucks.
This is a callback, fellow listeners, to like an episode from a month ago. Yeah.
The Elgato is super lame because it's super flimsy. Some people love it, but I feel like there are so many bits of equipment I've had that are like the GH5 and GH4. They feel like they're plasticky, but they feel like they'll also survive. In fact, I remember with the GH1, I was on Victoria Peak. It's the mountain, the big mountain that's behind Hong Kong, that you always see in the if you see a picture of Hong Kong, of the skyline and in the water, you see Victoria Peak, I think it is.
I think I pulled it up.
So I've been up there taking a photo down of Hong Kong and doing some time lapses up there, and I dropped my GH1 from about 4 feet onto cement. It bounced, and it was fine.
What? That's awesome.
It's totally fine.
It had crack?
Good lens on it. Fine, no problem. These things, and ever since then, I like.
Didn't even crack the hood?
No, nothing.
Wow.
It just kind of bounced, and it's like no problem. And ever since then, I do not get super high padding for any camera gear because it's built pretty well. I mean, all the Panasonic cameras are.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not gonna throw it on the ground, but.
Well, I thought you dropped it down the whole mountain, so I had to pull it up.
No, I was just like from here on a tripod to there, 5 feet. And it was scary, terrifying. It's like, oh,
of course.
But then yeah, and it worked, and then I continued using it for a number of years. But there was a reason I was going down that route, but I don't know what I was.
You're talking about durability. I think you were talking about durability. I'm pretty sure.
My ability?
Durability.
Durability.
D-U-R.
Yeah.
Durability.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it was a good story.
You lost.
Yeah.
Well, to tie it up in a bow, I think Panasonic.
Durability and the Elgato. And so, if I feel like not that I would be at the top of Victoria Peak and have that teleprompter at 5 foot, but I could be somewhere. And at 5 foot, if for some reason it wasn't really well connected and it fell off, that Elgato is toast. I mean, there's nothing that's going to survive. Every piece of it is going to break because it's so. It's fine to have kind of cheaper plastic as long as it's rigid enough to like survive. I don't know. It just felt like every part of it is gonna break, and I could see that happening. I've dropped things. I try to, if it's in my hands, I try to keep hold of it, and yet I've dropped things. Um,
Some people just drop
and
stuff.
so
Okay.
and so I am. There's a there's a company that makes like the teleprompter glass that a lot of teleprompters use,
Yeah.
and they have instructions on here's how you can make your own teleprompter if you want to. That's
Oh,
really
that's
big.
pretty cool. Nice.
And so you can get like uh a 17, 18-inch piece of teleprompter glass,
Nice.
18-inch square,
Yeah.
and get an 18-inch monitor or a 20-inch monitor
Yeah.
that has a VESA mount that mounts to that's super light. Those all the ones that are like
Just like a portable ones, I think are
those
pretty
portable
popular.
monitors, yeah. And so they're super light, and use that as your teleprompter and get a shroud that hangs over it.
Very
The
cool.
glass is not cheap. I mean, it's that size glass you're paying $600 anyway for.
Right.
But and so yeah, that's double the cost of that Elgato.
Now, if you
You're
drop
gonna
this from
have
4 feet, would it be okay?
um
Sorry, I had
so
to.
it's different. I mean, it's different because you're not gonna drop all the pieces. You're gonna drop one of them.
Yeah, just the glass.
And so
just the expensive part.
just the expensive part, maybe. But I feel like, if I wanted to transport that, I could break it down. That
Right.
Elgato thing, if you want to take it somewhere else, you can't, or you're going to take it all in one piece. I mean, you have to take it all in one piece. You put it
Mhm.
in some sort of case, it's going to be broken when you get it out,
Yeah.
unless you keep the original box because there's no carrying case.
So I got a Neewer teleprompter, and I'll say the
Mhm.
best thing about the Neewer teleprompter is the case. It is a terrible teleprompter,
Yeah.
but it did come in like a nice case that opens up and has foam
Yeah.
padding and
The
stuff like
the
that. 'Cause
case
you do want to move
from
them.
yeah, the case that I have from the Glide Gear teleprompter I
Mhm.
have is really nice. This one didn't have a case, but it kind of folds into itself and it
Right.
becomes its own case. Um, and there's another one I have that yeah, I feel like they're all I'm all and even the I was thinking, well, I'm just gonna get I'm just bite the bullet whatever and buy the best, some of the better ones, not total professional, but
Right.
the ICANN 19-inch teleprompter goes for about $2,500.
Yeah,
So
they're not cheap.
they're not cheap, but they're like an order of magnitude less than like the professional ones,
Right.
and pretty good size. But it turns out they are all of them are at 1280 by 720 resolution.
Oh,
And I
wow.
want to keep this as a regular monitor,
Yeah.
that so I can remove this monitor that's sitting in front of me, which I want to look at because it's bigger, and just have the monitor in front of me. And all of that, it becomes hopefully something that is also easier to access. Right now,
Yeah.
because this one is old, I've got this horrible thing, cloth that's actually attached to the camera, so I have to do a lot of unattaching to get the camera out.
Gotcha.
And whereas that is going to just be something simpler, and
It's gonna be
it'll
amazing.
be under my control.
There you go.
So there's a lot of that. There was a long route to get to
No,
here.
no, I like this. Matt, listen, as your business advisor here, I can see that you've got a plan in place and have put some actual thought into this purchase.
Yeah,
You get your defense ready.
Now none of that justifies
Right.
getting an S5 2X.
Right. But
But yeah,
you'll start shooting with your GH5, right?
I expect to use that GH5 as more of a overhead
That makes sense.
sometimes.
Yeah, give you another.
And so we are not going through with the larger, building the office upstairs,
Mhm.
but above this ceiling, which I'm my hand is up against my ceiling right now.
Yeah,
And
I mean you're a pretty
my-
tall guy
my-
too, so it's
my
pretty
arm's not even bent, so it's
Okay.
basically that high. The ceiling is that high off of my head.
Gotcha.
And so we're going to push that ceiling up because the ceiling of the garage is another 5 feet up.
Okay. there you
So
go.
we're going to get rid of this ceiling and just
Yeah.
go all the way up there, and then move this wall that's right here.
Mhm.
So I can just barely stretch my arms and not touch either wall.
Right.
But we're going to move this wall out about 4 feet and just have some kind of a little bit above handyman, basic construction company take care
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that,
I like it.
and push those things out.
You need the hand room to gesticulate, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a hand doctor,
Um,
so
and
I'm all
and then the thought would be to either get those kind of what are they called? Pentagram or the scissor kind of attached thing to the ceiling is that
like,
scissor
pulls it
stuff to
down?
pull
Yeah, yeah,
down, to
yeah.
pull lights down,
I don't know what
and
that's
then
called. I've
maybe
used it
get
before, though.
the sliders, so there's rails that will slide across the ceiling. That way you can have lights wherever you want them. I think it's pentagram or panta something.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. I
Um,
hadn't heard that term before. They look pretty cool, though.
um, yeah. And there's some cheaper ways of doing that, as always.
Now, one thing I worry about, like just prior to this, for example, we
Yeah.
had someone coming in looking at our washing machine, but I worry a
Mm,
lot because I've only got like one office to work out, and
yeah.
office is air quotes here because I'm in a studio and this is
Right.
all one room basically.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But when you're getting someone in for renovating, do you have like another spot in the house that you can work, or what's the plan there? Because my understanding is it takes some time for renovations. Like
Yeah.
you might assume it'll take
Yeah.
a day or two, but double or
Yeah.
triple that.
No. Yeah. So actually I'm gonna start right now I'm working out of here.
Yep.
But starting maybe as early as tomorrow,
Mhm.
I'm gonna start working out of for most of the day out of a shared, co-working space that's in
Gotcha.
town in Bainbridge,
Gotcha.
office expat. Um, so that'll solve that. Hey, I just realized I need to go pick up my daughter from her first day of a full day school.
That's awesome. Go
So
do that.
fullish day. So
Yeah.
she got there at 8 o'clock. Normally she's been coming home at 1 o'clock,
Mhm.
and today she comes home at 3 o'clock. So,
Go get her.
yeah. Hey, but this was good.
Heck yeah.
I took the whole time talking about what I'm getting. You
Man,
didn't talk about.
I will talk about cameras all day long, unfortunately. But yes, listen, we're doing it on a different day, and things are a little bit
Yeah,
weird. So happy to stop short. Thank you very much for
yeah,
accommodating my schedule.
yeah.
I apologize for not being at home
Did
yesterday when you were around.
do you have any or are we holding off on your cool things until next time?
Oh, listen. I got a puppy, and that's pretty much taken over my
Puppy,
entire
yeah,
life.
yeah,
But maybe next time
yeah.
I'll tweet a photo between now and then, and
Okay, sounds
we
good.
can share it out. But yes,
Yeah.
I do have a new dog that's taken up 100% of my time.
Is it already 3 times the size it was when you got her? Him? Her?
Her double the length? I don't know what size, but like he
Mm.
seems to just be growing this way so far. But I have been using Datadog to track the weight, so I'd love to talk about that
Oh,
next time.
nice,
It
nice.
doesn't need to be Datadog, but just in terms of like tracking
But
random
it's free
numbers
for
that are
you.
important. Exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. All right, well,
yeah.
go pick up your daughter, man, and tell her
Okay,
congrats. That's
sounds good.
awesome. What a
Yeah,
milestone. All right, see you
yeah.
later.
Alrighty, bye.
Bye.
And we'll end the stream.